Good day, Don, Michelle, Tina, Jimmy, everybody. Hello. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. Let's just get this show on the road. That was a long enough intro, I think. Got a few people gathered around. All right. Here's your opening shot. You can see your black spheroid going on down there. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of the intro. All right, so there's your opening shot right there. We'll get to that frame in just a moment. But let's get started with our date. This is December 23rd, 2024. Okay, just moments away from Christmas Eve here. Some people it's already Christmas Eve, so there we go. Anyways, your object right there. I'm going to go ahead and start this in reverse, forward and reverse. There we go. And while that loop is loading up and playing, I take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your time to be a part of this precious family. Okay. It's important that your time is like a sacrifice, and I try to reward you justly for your time. Okay, so I appreciate your time. I found that people's attention and time is very valuable in this process. So let me just do one last little camera adjustment here. Sorry, wasn't kind of fully loaded. There we go. Looking a little bit better. All right, so again, it's precious time, and your precious time is precious to me. So when you make it to the end of this show at the spiritual report, you will indeed find out how precious you are to me. Okay, let's get that going. All right, this activity up here, we're going to explain this in a minute, okay? But here's our loop playing for the moment, okay? Very slow motion activity going here, spits and sputters. You've seen that black object come out of there. So let me just capture our opening frame here, and we'll start dancing, okay? Let me get slide it down and grab some of the button. All right, there we go. So our opening frame here, 024, 1223, 2024, and we're going to start plucking away. You got your event going on up here. You can see there's a round, dark, kind of spherical object here. Now, what I think is going on in this sequence is it's traveling across the back behind the sun. It's traveling, instead of interacting and coming towards us, this time it's going back across the sun and watches this whole thing shifts, okay? But we're going to go frame by frame. Here's a little satellite moon, other little one spitting and sputtering. This long duration event coming out of this spire region. Note, this is all coming out of the spire region. Like I said, they act like compass needles. They point at a magnetic field, right? They get plasma get drawn off the sun by another magnetic field out here. Okay, so there's your object in the background, and we're just going to kind of pluck away. It goes very slowly across the screen like this, but when we put it back into motion, I'm going to speed it up. And you see this little damage ring starting to form right here. It actually carries with it. It's starting to spread out over the object, but it stays stationary kind of as that object swings across. Here's some of the little moons and satellites getting ripped off. They're torn away as this thing's interacting with it in the background there on the back side of the sun. Here comes more coming out, all right? There's the ghost image right there of your bigger black object. See the plasma streaming back behind it. Meanwhile, we got this going on over there, and you'll see here in a minute what's going on there. It'll be really fascinating when we put this into motion here in just a second. Just kind of plucking away here through the whole thing. All right, there we go. Now do is put this back into motion, and we're going to speed it up because it's a slow motion event. So we're going to speed this up, hopefully. All right, now you can see your object is moving across the back here. Watch how all these streams start here and they shift to the left. The whole field, let me pull it up. There we go. And a little bit there, and a little bit here, little fine adjustments. We'll get the best we can for you with our wavy lines. There we go. All right, so you can see we have a bigger object that's shifting. It's going across the backside instead of coming at us or off at an angle. Okay, so now we're starting to see backside activity showing up on this instrument now. Okay, so, and you can see the crisscrossing magnetic field lines right there as it kind of shifts around the side of the sun right there. Okay, and a little damage ring riding on the very front edge of it, or the top edge of it. Okay, so and then we got this thing. Look down here. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on that while it's in motion here. And I want you to look at this little swirling event. Here, let's go in a little tighter, because this activity is kind of unexplainable here. What's going on right here? And you got to remember, this is way outside the occulter. This is way off the sun. It's not like this is a filament that's reaching out and snapping back down. Something is spinning right there. There's probably a disc or some kind of object rotating right there in the plasma, and you can see its rotation because of the plasma streaming over it. Yeah, you can almost see the little little outer edge of it there for a second. Yeah. So look at that, you guys. There's a disc-shaped object rotating right there outside the magnetic field of the sun, just roiling in that energy right there. Okay, you see that right there? It's spinning. And you can make out the disc in a couple of frames there. Let's darken that up too, shall we? There we go. Yeah, NASA, you got some explaining to do. Actually, I'll explain for you. It's called a flying saucer, okay? It's not too hard to figure out. It's rotating, it's a saucer, it's a flying saucer interacting with the sun. Oh, we're going to get into something I heard tonight or earlier about a quote I heard that's very important. And we'll get into that later. And it pertains to this too as well. Okay. So there's your activity going on. And I'll let you be the judge of this as well. Okay. I'm just showing you what I see. Okay. You guys got eyes that see. Go ahead and see here. And you can come over to this instrument and zoom in and turn the tint down just like I do, and see for yourself what's going on over here. This isn't my imagery. This is NASA's imagery, and I'm just showing you what I've been shown by the Lord and the activity that's really going on, okay? Oh, over here, too, on the red side, you can see the swirling on the red side, too. Let's just zoom in on that really quick, too, because it's just, we're here. Sorry, but right there. Okay, so the sun doesn't normally do that. CMEs don't normally do that. That's not our normal activity that we see by the sun, and it's blatantly obvious why. I mean, it's plain as day. All right. Maybe I should talk about that now. Can I use that? I guess it pertains now. Yeah. So let me just tell you really quick. I was watching in the background. I was listening to reports of the drones. And some eyewitnesses, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Another eyewitness, blah, blah, blah. And this one eyewitness said, yeah, I saw it a couple of months ago myself, but I didn't believe it until I saw it on the news. Well, that statement there is kind of devastating because he saw it with his own eyes. He had his own encounter, saw it with his own eyes, and did not believe what he saw with his own eyes until he saw it on the news, until the news verified it for him. We'll get into the into the technicalities of that statement, but I think you can see where I'm going with that, with this right here. I'm showing you what's going on. You're seeing it with your own eyes, okay? I just zoomed in on it for you. We could do that again, but it's plain as day what's going on there. Now, are you going to wait until the lying mainstream media tells you, or do you believe what you see with your own eyes? It was very disturbing what he said there. I was like, what? Oh, they have got that guy hook, line, and sinker. He won't. The gospel is the news. He won't take. He won't even believe his own eyes. He'll believe the news before he believes his own eyes. Pretty trippy stuff. All right. Anyways, there's your activity around the sun for the moment. Let's get on over here to the solar report. Okay, now check out your solar flux indice. It's way up at 238. We're up another 15 points. The sun's getting very active. Well, we got all kinds of moons and satellites reacting, and that big thing in the back crossing. Your sunspot number count is one away from going into the red. We're at 199. It's up 22 more spots. Got another encounter coming on, another object with more satellites. Look at your area creeping into the yellow now. All right, so a lot of different sunspot regions going on. Just really quick, since we don't have their polarity right now, I just want to point out 3930, 26, 28, 27. Here's 3933, 32. All right, this might be our region right here that caused it, or 3935. It may be, I think it's this one, 3935. This pretty strong polarity. It's showing black and white, but that's a pretty tight configuration, and that's the one that kicked out, I think, our big M flare today. So let's get on back to zooming. Oh, wait, we don't have to zoom out. We can just slide and scroll and see how fluxed we are. All right, so here we go. You can see pretty bumpy ride. There's your activity for the day. Now, this doesn't necessarily denote the activity we saw on the satellite. This is the activity between Earth, or between the satellite and the sun. So a lot of that activity was on the backside. But here's your spike. It was an M9. Yeah, it was an M9. Hang on, we'll go over that in just a second. And then we got this little spike right here, right on the cusp of the change of the day going into the next day. Would you guys like to take a little peek at this? No? You don't want to come over here and see what happened already on Christmas Eve? You might even refresh and get every last frame. You don't want to see your Christmas gift early, huh? Well, tough. We're opening one gift at least. All right. Hope you guys enjoy the humor. All right. Here we go. Not much to look at, just more spits and sputters and stuff, but you can see this activity is still, this arm is still shifting over to the left. That thing is still cruising across the top and the back over there. All right, so there's that. Let's come back over here. So you see your little bump and then your activity going down, which is good. We could use a little break from activity, but we will see. Now, coming over to your 3-day geomagnetic forecast. Finally, they're predicting a G1 on December 25th, and that was because of what came off the sun on the 22nd. And we should go back and investigate that just really quick. This big old incident that we already kind of looked at. See this little craft moving out here. There's this thing still moving out right there. And we can put this one into, yeah, look at that thing. Let's speed that up just a tad bit. See this thing? That looks like a Starship Enterprise or something right there, because it maintains structure, the same shape, same size all the way through right there. And then this little thing shooting out over there. So if we're seeing, if we're seeing UFOs interact with the sun, slow it down there a little bit. Okay, so if we're seeing UFOs interact with the sun, these are probably what they look like they are. Some kind of craft that are interacting with the sun right there. Okay. And we can even, this thing almost looks like one of a human drone, so X-shaped thing, but it's got this weird little head on it. It almost looks like the Starship Enterprise, or like one of the newer models, the Voyager or whatever. It's captured right there. And see if we can zoom in on whatever this is. I'll let you be the judge. Okay. But it maintains this little configuration all the way through. Let me go ahead and hit start, and we'll just kind of let that sit there. We saw the first part of it the other night, and here's the second half of it moving out right there. Okay, and then this one over here, whoops, come back here. Coming out here. Yeah, see a little ring going around that. Here, let's slow it down a little bit for that one. It's the shuttle. It's the, I don't know, it's like the Starship Enterprise and its little shuttle or something. I'll let you be the judge, okay? But something is going on that's not our normal activity. And I've seen these craft spiral next to the sun before. It's been a few years, but I captured one that was sitting there just spinning around. So I've seen this spinning activity right next to the sun before. So, and then this maintains its structure the whole way through. So don't be surprised if you see a ship in your skies that's shaped like that, or a cloud that's shaped like that, because these ships use electromagnetic waves to cloak themselves, and that causes condensation and forms clouds in the shape of the craft. So whatever that is, don't be surprised if you see it in our skies soon. That would be the 25th, because this is the 22nd. So 3 days is, well, that thing's moving really slow. It's moving slower than most of the stuff. So it might take a couple of days longer. Maybe Christmas Day or the day after, who knows? But something going on there, and that was on the 22nd. All right. Moving forward, here we go. We did all of that. So our geomagnetic forecasts are calling for a G1 on that day. Okay. We don't need to be absorbing any more. We have already taken on way too much energy, and we don't need more. So here's your M flares, the 4.8 that we saw, and then the big M9. Okay, almost an X flare right there. Even caused a short little radio burst there. All right, let's come on over. Here's your auroras at the moment. Okay, they're nice and calm and mellow. It's not really, looks more like this. Okay, they're very faint right now. All right, camera's too sensitive to light. And then your KP really quick, you can see we've gone up to like almost 4 here, way down to 2, and then way back up again. Not way back up, but mid 3s and stuff. So we're having a little bit of lifted KP index. All right. We did have like a little valley right here, but it goes right back up. And now we're expected to have a G1 storm here pretty soon. So expect to see a yellow spike on here around the 25th. That could also enhance any kind of storms that we're having anywhere on the world if we have a G1 storm at the same time. Whew. Coming down, look at this list of sunspots. It has grown very long in just the last couple of days. The ones I'm concerned about, 3932, beta gamma delta, and stable. I believe that one's the beta. It's growing. So 3928 is also beta gamma. All right, so getting into this little report here, the coronal mass ejection CME associated with the M9 solar flare early this morning, Monday morning, is predicted to deliver a glancing blow by Christmas Day, December 25th. Merry Christmas. You're getting a G1, you're going to get a geomagnetic storm. A G1 geomagnetic storm watch added for that date, and perhaps the gift of aurora will be possible for Skywatcher at high latitudes. Now, September 23rd. Okay, so it was 3932 located in the southeast quadrant that just produced the M9 solar flare, peaking at 1112. All right, the event is associated with a type 2 radio emission and an estimated velocity of 731 kilometers per second. Wow, that's flying. Coronal dimming is evident to the south of the flare, which, however, further, that kind of indicates a CME, but they didn't say that. However, a further update will be provided. So let's do some track-a-lacking since we're lacking the tracking. Pop this one open first. Funny how those crop circles are kind of looking down from this perspective with the sun in the center and all kinds of circles propagating. Very interesting. All right. and your IMF line showing up in there. So there's a small little CME going away. Let's come on over to this one and play. Now, hopefully you guys are watching Wages World too. I know most of you do. And he was talking about our density. Look at the density spike. All right, before they change this graph, usually it's 5, 10, and 15. Well, now we're at 10, 30, and 50, and that's almost 40 right there in between 30 and 50. So we're going to see pretty dense hit. Let's go ahead and load that up. I should have done that instead of Jabberjohn. So while that loads up really quick, we'll watch. Here comes your CME for Christmas Day, late Christmas night, or whatever. Okay. Boom. Pretty direct hit. Okay. And pretty dense too. So it should cause pretty strong storm. Now, not any object that caused this, if it's coming along in this direction, could enhance this storm even stronger. So even though they're calling, even though they're calling for G1, this is where I have to say, don't be surprised if it's a little stronger. Okay. I don't want it to be stronger. I don't even want it to be a G1. All right. I'd rather it be G0. But no, I don't want any surprises here. The accompanying object with the accompanying radiation and the CME could cause a little bit stronger than G1. All right. I pray I'm wrong, but be thankful to be wrong on that one. All right. There's your M9.5 or whatever coming out of this region right here. So we're definitely going to see some. It's coming out, well off of the limb. It's not even on the limb. So anything that we can see directly, well, it's definitely be coming at us. Any kind of light going to be coming at our way. So there's that. Let me go ahead. The other one has the movie. Okay, so let's go on over here. Here's our little movie playing right there. You can look at that while I read this article. 2 CMEs, I repeat, 2 CMEs are expected to strike Earth during the next 48 hours. A minor glancing blow on December 24th, followed by a more direct hit on December 25th. The 1-2 punch could cause a G1 to G2 class geomagnetic storm with high latitude auroras for Christmas. Okay, so here they're kind of agreeing. It could be a little bit higher. All right, so don't be surprised if the comes in a little stronger than expected, or possibly not. Maybe Santa's gonna ride the wave, and I don't know. I'm just joking. Strong solar flare in CME. The big sunspot, 3932, erupted on December 23rd, producing an M8.9. So that's almost an M9 class solar flare. Only percentage points from a category X, just like I was saying. Okay. So see it right here. It's kind of facing you. It's not totally in the center of the disk, but it's definitely not way over here. Okay. So we're going to get something from this. All right. And around Christmas too. Hopefully doesn't cause too much havoc. So 24th, 25th, well, more to 25th, actually, because it said 2. So 24th, 25th time frame on our weather, we'll have to add geomagnetic enhancement to it. Moving on, you can come over and read the rest of the article. Thank you, Dr. Tony Phillips, for helping us there. Okay, we are coming over to the Schumann. Hopefully. Okay. All right. Oh, does that look like a good Schumann report tonight? Look at this nice smooth line, good continuity. It's a little weak, but it's not all just blasted with grinding and everything. You can see up here last day, day before, not yet, or not today, but yesterday, we had some grinding, just very light in the very low hertz range right there, and it kind of stops. We go back to kind of normal. It's getting a little stronger right now. You can see it picked up a little intensity right there, a little bit of grinding in the low frequencies there at the top, but not much. So pretty smooth day today, actually. I'm thankful for that. Some of this can be painful and very annoying. All right, let's get on over to our null school, the School of Null, where wavy lines irritate you all night long. All right, here we go. Maybe. Lord, can we have the null school board here? Okay. Oh, I closed out the other page. Let's just give this a second here while this is trying to recover. There we go. Let's try it one more time. Maybe their site is having issues. There we go. Ooh, really quick, you can clearly see the tropical convergence zone. That blue line right there should be more down here at the equator. Okay, it's not because the planet has shifted, it's because of the hot spots that are growing on the ocean floor down here have shoved air currents a little further north, and our tropical convergence zone is a little far north. Okay, whoa. That's a huge vortex right there. We're not even we're on the surface. Oh, dear Lord, are we going to go up higher? What? That's huge. That thing takes up a quarter of the Pacific Ocean right there. All right, then we got this mad vortex going on up here, just really going to town, lashing the British Columbia coast right there. And then we got another one going on, spinning around down here. Wow. You're not on Skunkworks mailing list anymore? It's all good. I had a relative that worked at Skunkworks. We got another vortex going on right here off the coast of Thailand here, Malaysia area. Let's just kind of look around. Ooh, dear, they're getting some pretty good storm activity. Look how it winds up through here. Wow. Crazy vortex action going on right now. And then we got these ones over here. All right, we'll get into these here in just a minute. We got to finish doing let's go up a little bit higher. I want to see our polar vortex, what it's doing right now. Oh, look at our sub-vortex over here, peeling energy away from the polar vortex, shoving it down. Look, part of it peeling away there, the rest getting shoved down and then going out the East Coast. So it's not all the way down to Florida like it was just a few days ago. It kind of pulled up a little bit further because we got another sub-vortex here. All right, but there's your main polar vortex. All right, and it'll be coming into play here pretty soon. All right, let's go down to 850 again. Come over here to our sandstorm report. Take off the wind. And are you ready? Here we go. So, wow, look at this. Just kind of get some of that white out of there. This camera doesn't like it too much. All right, here we go. So big, intense sand plume blowing off Africa out into the Atlantic here. You can see it stretching all the way across, getting caught up in these winds and these wind currents and taken all the way up here to Ireland. All right. Then we have this activity going on over here. Yeah. Sand plumes going way up here, coming way down here, past the equator now. So we got sand from the Africa going eastward and below the equator now. That's crazy. Meanwhile, we got it spread out all over Saudi Arabia. The whole Middle East is covered. For those of you with eyes that see, you can see it. It's still there. Okay, also, what I wanted to show you is the sand has been drawn up all the way up to the North Pole, and we saw a little swirl out the other night going around the North Pole. Well, look how much is already getting spread around up here, okay? So, there's, well, believe it or not, there's sand from the Sahara making it all the way up to the North Pole. Now, you probably wouldn't believe it if you see it. Maybe if they told you on the evening news or something, then maybe. But in the meantime, I'll just keep reporting this until people finally figure it out. All right, and then hopefully they don't see that. or maybe you should see it. Okay, moving on to our SO2. What was the SO2 so much for peace in the Pacific? Oh, there might just be peace. These people might catch on really quick and go, whoops, what are we thinking? Okay, let's dive on into our SO2 report. Okay, this is sulfur dioxide, not carbon dioxide. This is more like vaporized magma. Magma wants to push out through the crust, through all the little perforations and little pinholes and slow leaks in the bicycle tube. Well, the pinholes are so small and the magma is so thick and viscous that it can't. But the gas around it, or the vaporized part, can. It's only gas, so it pushes up through any perforations in the crust. Meanwhile, we got a country divided here. You can see the eastern side, very soft, porous crust. It just bleeds out all over the place. It doesn't even matter if it's a fault line or anything. It's just porous. It's like sponge. Meanwhile, over here is more granite and rock and mountain and everything. So your venting sites are all kind of volcanic in nature. So there's your SO2. All right. Now up here lately, it was kicking up fires. We're going to put on the fire report. And as we come on in to northern Canada up here, okay, these are forest fires that are being caused by the SO2 plume. The SO2 comes out of the ground so hot, thousands of degrees, that it causes spontaneous combustion of any kind of vegetation in the area, especially in a forested area, and then it just ignites and goes. We got a couple of fires, one here, one there, some going on down here. Okay, so some of this fire activity, because this is winter time and it's cold up there. So why are they having forest fires in the middle of this at this time? Well, it's because of the activity. Over here, this doesn't count because there's a lot of factories and everything and all kinds of productivity. So I'm looking for mainly stuff, little spots like this. Uh-oh. Here's a site right here. A little fire going on here at this spot. Okay. All right, let's take them off and go around the world, shall we? Look at Mexico. It's got all kinds of venting going on. We got, porous crust all through there, volcanic sites all down through Central America, volcanoes all through here. Meanwhile, we got Cuba. It's a volcanic island. Okay, so it's spewing SO2. Same with Jamaica. Theirs is very intense because, well, there's more SO2 and some whatever else going on there. But these islands right here, this island chain, these are all volcanic islands, and each one of them is having SO2 emissions. Blah. All the way down northern South America, the whole west coast of South America. These are all individual sites. This is not a plume. Okay, so this area is really porous. Okay, it's got all these little perforations, and here this is the main fulcrum point on the plate boundary offshore here, so it creates a weak spot in the crust and a weak spot, path of least resistance. The gas wants to come out there, so there's a very strong emission site here. Most of the time, usually always, but it's these surrounding ones and how they flare up and react that kind of are indicators. And this one up top tonight is pretty dark, pretty organized. The other two are kicking pretty good. The fifth one here in the middle isn't missing. It's there. It's visible. So we're having a fair amount of pressure going on. Okay. You come down the coast here, you can see it's all dark emissions right here, strong emissions. So much so that the wind catches it and makes a plume, an SO2 plume out in the Pacific. And a lot of it's blown over to the Atlantic side as well. Okay. As we have the Pacific Rim, much like a bicycle rim, we have the hub of the rim, and pressure has to be relieved here too. So we have SO2 emissions being vented here, and now we've just had an eruption here at the Kilauea volcano as well. So an uptick in pressure from down below, a wave of pressure, a bubble kind of burp coming up from down below is pushing on the underside of the crust, shoving SO2 emissions out, and then weakening the lava lake up here and cracking it, and it started to erupt. We're just adding volcanoes all the time, you guys. It's so crazy. All right, now let's come over to this region, back up 8 hours for their time zone. All right. And the bruise on the face of the planet is China over here. Very porous crust, very spongy. Also, they're having fissures opening up as well, which are basically cracks in the crust. So, not just pinhole sites, but long ribbon type structure. So, a lot of SO2 coming out of that place. And India is darkening in. They've got some strong sites. The wind blows it up against the Himalayas. This gas won't make it over the Himalayas, so it just keeps recycling over and concentrating and getting darker and darker. Over here in the Middle East, this is starting to fill in now with SO2 sites. Some of these are also emitting methane, which is a flammable gas coming out at thousands of degrees. All it needs is oxygen. It doesn't need a spark. So oxygen is there's Eric. Hi, Eric. Glad you're here, bud. When we get oxygen mixing with that methane at thousands of degrees, it just bursts into flame automatically. So there are open pits, like sinkholes, opening up in the desert out there with flames coming out of them. Methane emissions as well. Okay. So SO2 and methane emissions, all because the pressure down below is pushing on the underside of the crust. Look at all these sites up here. They're darkening in. This gas has made it all the way up to the North Pole as well. All right, so coming around, we saw that area. I want to come over here to Java. This is one of our little gauges. It's pretty dark in color tonight. Make sure we get the right color right there. All right, there we go. So you can see some of this gas is blowing out into the straits out here. So if you like stacked all that back on here, it'd be pretty dark purple. You can see these volcanoes here, pretty strong emissions out of these right here. So meanwhile, we got Sumatra and the islands offshore right here starting to emit SO2 as well. Okay. Also, I want to touch base with this little island right here. We always do this. This pencil-shaped island right here is right by the beginning of the plate boundary system. Here's our deep quake region at Fiji. Okay. We also have the home reef. It was a volcanic seamount that reached the surface of the water and now is a new island because it broke the surface of the water. And now we have a new island, a new volcanic seamount that reached the surface and is spewing SO2 right there. Okay. So just came up out of the ocean floor and peeked through the where. Now this relieves pressure through this plate boundary system, but we've also had volcano activity or earthquake activity on a volcanic ridge out here over by Vanuatu. So it's doing a lot to relieve as much as it can, but it's getting so intense that we're starting to see other volcanoes and earthquake activity in that region. Now we are going to go over to our ocean sea surface temperature anomalies for yesterday because this map takes a day to compile. And while we're here, this pencil-shaped island, look at all the these are like seamounts opening up and hot water plumes growing around this area. Okay, so there's a lot of pressure in this region, a lot of openings and paths of least resistance, but it's still growing and blossoming. Now, mind you, they're going into their summer and stuff down here, and their water does warm up, but these are hot. These are plumes, okay? Now, we come over here to Java, and we see that it's been relieving some pressure and stuff lately, and cold water has been able to inundate. Now, when hot water removes out of the area and pressure moves, cold water likes to rush in and take its place. So we get cold water inundation, and you can see southern part still kind of blue. We got a little red in there, but look at off the coast of Australia here. Okay, and all the way down to New Zealand here. Okay, we're just kind of going around the world. Let's do the Pacific. Look at this. This is really reduced. We can still see some of these little pockets are still going off, but not as bad as it was before. We got this clump out here. Let's talk about our Juan de Fuca here. All right, this little point right here is where the Juan de Fuca comes out. Why are we not getting very good color tonight, huh? Do that or this or this. There we go. Getting better. All right. Meanwhile, we got this point right here, And now we're starting to see red above it, north of it. Okay, so we're going to continue to see quakes in this region, south of the plate and north of the plate boundary right there. Okay, because of this big patch that's growing right there. We got this off the coast of Monterey, Santa Barbara area. And then we got this. Now, look how this has turned in a darker or brighter yellow. And we have this inundation finger reaching into that eye type structure there. And that is a big difference from just a couple of days ago. So we're going to see an uptick, I think, in earthquake activity in the southern part of California here. See this also glowing right there. Okay, over here in the Gulf, we have cold water. Whoops, we have cold water along the shoreline, but we have something opening here off the coast and down the shoreline here. So hot water in this area continues to pump warm, moist air up through the middle of the country, keeping our weather patterns a certain way. Same with this. Look at this, cold and hot right next to each other. Probably going to see some rotation around that here. All kinds of little activity going on along there. Over here by Italy, the coastline of Italy starting to get hot right here. So I'd watch out for Campi Flegrei. Some of those volcanoes around Italy might have some earthquake and uptick in activity there. Okay, that's enough of that. There's Africa. Let's put the winds on. Okay, now over the hot air, over the hot water, warm air forms. Over the cold water, cooler air forms. Well, hot air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it, and you start to see vortex or rotation activity due to your hot, cold weather plumes. There's a good example right there. A lot of this has changed and is really kind of just directing stuff instead of causing rotation. Look how it's really directed this whole channel. This whole rotation right there causes the colliding air masses through there. We'll just kind of leave it there for a second so your eyes can adjust to the, see the correlation between your hot and your cold structures there. Let's come over here for a second, do this side. Okay, a change in configuration up here has caused that vortex to sit there like that, and it just keeps whipping wind and weather from this region right along that coastline. But note how it just stays right in that zone and goes right up through there. So this whole area has just been getting bombarded. And they're going to continue to get bombarded because now we've got a strengthening vortex right here. We have this big storm that's grown out here. Main center of rotation is right up here. And just because it's not blue, but here we have hot air rising, colder air rushing in to replace it. That hot air finally gets way up there, cools off and sinks. Goes down to the cooler region, whips back around. Your weather patterns are being controlled by, well, volcanic activity on the ocean floor and not so much your lower jet stream. Here's a good example as well. Okay. Now, an earthquake can cause a change in structure of any one of these blobs, right? For instance, over here, we have our La Nina pattern being disrupted and our tropical convergence zone being disrupted because of this volcanic activity right here. Say another plume opens up right here, and now that's going to really change stuff, right? So an earthquake can cause one of these plumes to open up or one to close up as well. All right, you got to remember it's changing the structure in the strata. So it could jiggle something loose and plug it up, or it could jiggle something loose and open something up. All right. So this is going to sound weird, but we're at a moment and a point now that an earthquake could open up something and change the weather patterns. An earthquake could affect the weather. Sounds weird, but when I explained it just like that, you can see how that could happen. And here's how, This wasn't caused by an earthquake, but say if we had one over here and another event opened up, that would change things. Okay. We're at that point now. You see your rotation, hot, cold down here. Okay. All right, enough of that. Let's take off the wind here. We're going to leave that up for our earthquake report. Yeah, it was cool, man. We've had powerful guardian angel on the other side. Cool. All right. Just reading some comments in the chat really quick. Let's get on over to the USGS and do some Quake reporting here. Now, let me get the satellite version for your viewing pleasure. And let's just start in our typical area. Now, look how quiet it is. That's eerily quiet. There's no deep quake, no surface quake, no nothing in this area. So watch out. We're probably due for, deep quake, probably mid-range 4 to a 5 in this region. And then we'll see, resulting quakes, volcanic activity. Right here, you're beginning your plate boundary system. Here's that pencil-like island that emits SO2, keeping quake activity down in this region. We also have Vanuatu that's, been releasing a lot of pressure in this region via earthquakes. So very quiet through here, all the way around the map, really. We got one here, 4.6. That's our deep quake region right here. So down at 515. So there's a little pressure down deep. Right in here, we got these pressure ridges that grow on this side because of the plate boundary. On the back side here, we got this foothill area with a 4.9 down at 84. So along this plate boundary down inside there, there's volcanic activity, magma shifting around down at 84, causing a nice little 4.9 to 5 right there at the surface. Not down a little bit. Nothing around the Fulcrum Point region. We got a lot of hot water coming out of there really quick. We didn't do Taiwan. But if you look at Taiwan right here, you see this little hot spot. That's a path of least resistance, and a bunch of pressure is being relieved right at this area at the plate boundary at that little fulcrum point. So fulcrum point's right here, path of least resistance right here. So it's keeping a bunch of activity down there. Yeah, we all miss Mike Morales. He's a good man. He's still with us. You just can't see him. Look at this going on around North and South Korea. They better figure it out real quick. They're in hot water, I would say. Or you could say. All right, back to the earthquake report. So no activity here because of that little relief valve right there being kind of relieving a lot of pressure. 4.5 down at 69, volcanic structure. 4.0 down at 55, volcanic structure. Oh, look at this. We haven't had one up here close to this fulcrum point in a long time. Here we go, 4.5 at the surface. Wow. That's almost your fulcrum point quake right there. I would kind of give that to it because we haven't had anything around this region in a while, mainly over here on this side. A little fulcrum point activity there. Okay, we'll get into America in just a minute. Let's finish off the rest of the globe. Not a disk. 4.7 down to 10. Very quiet through this region. A lot of SO2 emissions keeping pressure and magnitudes, or earthquake magnitudes and activity down. Quick magnitude check 3. That's actually low. 3.5. That's a little more like it. All right, let's go all magnitude into. Let's go magnitude over there. Okay, now take that away. And back to this Africa quake here. At the surface. Ooh, well, we all got all kinds of mountain ridges, valleys, all kinds of fault line structure going on here. So we got a new little path of least resistance right here at the surface. This will be a place to watch in the upcoming days. Oh, no. No, that's more than just an earthquake. It's right on the foot of this Volcano! Yes. That was a little surprise. Okay, so we got earthquake activity at the flank of a volcano off the surface. Watch out for a little volcanic blast there maybe soon. We were looking at this region the other day, 4.1 at the surface here, and around Italy where we're seeing an uptick in pressure, we got a 4.2 at 205. That's definitely down on the volcanic activity there. Okay, all magnitudes into America. So we had a little relief of pressure around Fulcrum Point, really low on quake activity through this boundary system here. Fulcrum Point area, 3.2 being your biggest quake, and your current quake at 2.2. Coming down through here. Now, I was telling you we still see heat and pressure being pushed up above the plate boundary and south of it. Right now, our quake activity is still to the south of the plate boundary, a 3.5 down at 17, and your other 3.4, that's way close to the surface at 2.9. Okay, we have over here a volcano with an earthquake, 0.3. Yipe. Yeah, definitely earthquake activity next to a volcano, sign of pressure down below. Fulcrum points, very quiet around there. Uh, your geysers, come over and check this little site over at Arrington, still swarming out. This still has a swarm going on weeks later. Okay, so this is a new path of least resistance. There was maybe some subterranean crack opened up, that reaches up towards the surface, and now we have this area path of least resistance. Also, something else I want to point out here is these features. A lot of quakes around this volcanic peak right here and this little volcanic butte. Okay, this is all lava fields. Okay, so this is all a volcanic area with cracks and a path of least resistance in this area, and it's continuing to swarm. And lately we've seen a little back and forth. We'll have a flurry here and it'll stop. Then the flurry will be here, then it'll stop and flurry back to here, and then flurry back to here. And they're taking turns. So right now, kind of quiet, but we do still continue to see activity in that region. Here's a current quake right now, 2.9 down at Bishop. Now, this little area right here, this little eye-shaped structure right there, that's this little part over here. Come here, South America. All right, it comes out right here. Okay, so this area right here has this right next to it and pressure creeping into it. So I expect to see, and look, we're seeing current activity just north of this structure right here. Now I expect to see a little uptick in magnitude and in quake activity in this region. Not big ones, but we'll see an uptick in them. Okay, and we might even see stuff out here in the middle of the structure, out in the ocean here. Our biggest quake right now is 2.1 right there, but you might see quake activity right along this and then out here in the middle, because we're starting to see, like I said, just starting to creep in. And that's the reasoning for that, okay? And you can understand, you see, it's pretty simple stuff, okay? It's whether you believe it or not. I mean, do you have to have the mainstream media tell you, or can you just with your own eyes? Meanwhile, 1.3 here in Texas. We also have 2.5 here in Oklahoma. Nothing on your fulcrum point and nothing up your craton. Ooh, good thing there's nothing up your craton. Yipe. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's kill the earthquake and that one now, and we can do our volcano report. Okay. 39. Oh, geez, there's another one added. We're just keep climbing, huh? So, come back here, you. 39 and 34 is 73. We just gained another volcano. Now, it's going to sound crazy, but 7 years ago when all this stuff started happening to me, there was only one volcano. Back then, if I'd have told you, hey, in the next coming 7 years, you're going to be up to 73 volcanoes, you would have said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 7 years later, 73 volcanoes, and I am still crazy about you. Let's do this, shall we? Ebu, or I be with you. Luatobi. All right, Canalone, 12,000 feet. Rayong, East Java. Okay, East Java. Lots of activity on the island of Java. 23,000 feet. Oh, dear. Ebu, I'd be with you at 11,000. Wow, that's a huge jump. We're usually at 6 or 8. So we've seen an uptick in pressure, which results in uptick in higher plumes. Okay, higher plumes, more pressure to push them higher. Pretty easy. Popocatépetl, no, Santa Guido, no, Fuego, 14,000, Sangay, okay. That was just in the last few minutes, okay. I saw somebody asking, hey, there's an active volcano right now. And I said, no, there are 32. And I was wrong, there's more. All right, but that was just in the last few minutes. That's how many we got going. Here's today, the 23rd. Let's take a peek at what was today and is now yesterday because, well, time just flies here on the volcano page. At my channel, I mean. All right. Don't forget, this map can be desensitizing. We see it so much, it's not a big deal. But look at how much red there is on this map. This is way out of control. If you told somebody there were 73 active volcanoes, they would go, no way. Well, there you go, 30 some odd in eruption. And that's what it looks like when pressure comes from down below and finds a path of least resistance. I think this is Lava Lake. They kill away at, yep. And now Lava Lake cracked a little fissure on the side, and now magma's blowing up into the air. It's not just bubbling, it's exploding upward and outward because of pressure. And there's some of the little spots that have popped out and spewed magma. These pathways got big enough that magma could make it out. Before it was SO2, and now it's split open enough that now the magma can push out. So your little perforations in the crust are eventually going to start doing this. Reventador, Sakurajima. I saw a huge blast out of there. It's not reporting. Yeah, they're not reporting many heights anymore. 6,000 out of Suwanosejima. 10,000 out of Canalone, 6,000 out of Ebu. See, that was earlier today, 6,000, and then we just saw a blast at 10,000 or 11,000. So, big difference. Semeru, 14. Semeru's on the island of Java. Dukono, 8,000. Kilauea, add it to the list now. Fountain continues from several eruptive vents on the Himawalamuhu crater floor. Okay, approximately 2 a.m. local time, December 21st, increased earthquake activity was detected beneath the summit, and then confirmed eruptive activity throughout summit webcams, including indications that the eruption had begun within the summit caldera. Home Reef, our new little seamount grown into volcano now, mature volcano. Last time had a 15,000 foot blast out of this, or no, 5,000, sorry. And it'll show anything right now. Popocatépetl, no height. Santa Guido, 14. Fuego, 17. Sangay, 19. There's a little higher. Reventador. All right, so these are the lists of that map, okay? These are all currently erupting. So they were like, hey, there's one volcano currently erupting. I said, no, there's more than that. All of these are currently erupting, and these are all active, okay? So you combine that together, that's 73 active volcanoes, if not currently erupting. And do not let this desensitize you either. This should be very alarming and very disturbing. I can see why they're doing everything they can to keep you distracted from finding out that this is going on. But for the people who live next to them, they're well aware. that the media is not reporting on it. Now, if you saw a volcano going off next to you, would you believe it, or would you have to have the news report it for you to so you would believe it? I don't know. It's just weird mindset. They've really got people. Hook, line, and sinker. Tropical tidbits. Everybody, get ready for your tidbit. Put your hand out. Open up your mouth. We're going to have our tidbits. And for you guys, here's some models. Forecast models, that is. Okay, we have had some gnarly weather approaching the West Coast, so we might have to do a little separate one for the West Coast in just a second. Let me kind of scooch. This is your current conditions, December 23rd, morning of the 24th. Severe weather striking the Northern California, Oregon coast. We're talking flash flooding, high winds, possible waterspouts making landfall, tornadoes, okay, large hail possible, anything that goes along with severe weather. Coastal erosion. You might even see a little bit of storm surge maybe with this, possibly, along the coast, higher waves. Very don't forget snow on the backside up here. We're going to do a whole separate report for that. But meanwhile, severe weather blossoming in the morning time, okay? Tomorrow morning, tomorrow morning here. There's the noontime, afternoon, evening, so we get a little tiny QLCS through this region possible at the evening time of tomorrow. There's the morning of Christmas, noon, afternoon, evening. Again, here we go again. All those same conditions apply. Morning of December 26th, noon, convection, afternoon convection, nighttime severity right there. That's within our 3-day window here. So this is going to possibly really come to pass right here. Okay, so everybody in that region and this region. We forgot to add in the G1 storming too. All right. Morning of the 27th, noon, convection, nighttime, 28, noon, convection, nighttime, 29, noon, convection, nighttime, the 30th, icing up in there, morning or noon of the 30th, afternoon, nighttime. You see that thing twist right up? Watch out for that. Morning of the 31st, New Year's Eve, noon, convection, nighttime. So right around nighttime of New Year's Eve there at New York, it's gonna at the Times Square. It's gonna be nasty weather. Morning of the 1st, noon, convection, nighttime. Again, look out the snow on the backside there. Morning of the 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Wow. Morning of the 3rd, noon, convection, nighttime 4, noon, convection, nighttime 5, noon, convection, nighttime 6, noon, convection, nighttime 7. Look at this down in Mexico. There's actually snow on the one little spot right there. But that's nighttime of the 6th, morning of the 7th. Noon, convection, nighttime. Here's a good example, just really quick. Got to touch base. Your cold air coming down from the Arctic or from, Canada, colliding with that warm, moist flow coming up right here, icing right into the middle here, and then a good, strong QLCS right there. So that's the kind of, it might not come to pass, but this is the kind of scenario setup that we're got to watch out for now with our latest weather pattern setups because of our thermal activity on the ocean floor. Convection the 7th, nighttime. Ooh, I pray that doesn't happen. Morning of the 8th. Ooh, I pray that doesn't happen. Noon, convection. Oh dear. Nighttime. Ooh. All right, that's way out there. So, but those kind of air mass collisions like that, you see how that comes together? And then they continue to operate in tandem here and then reorganize. Look at that. Oh boy, I bet you the next frames out of that, they probably didn't even want to show. But what I'm going to do really quick here, let me just catch the opening frame. All right, I want to just do the Pacific Northwest region for the moment here because they're still getting the this vortex rotating out here. All right, and it's just sending stuff up this little stream right here. Remember I showed you that before? So now I'm just going to let this run for a second there and play while I take a minute to have a quick break. Okay, we're talking heavy amounts of water over and over and over again with snow and then water coming and melting that snow away. You're going to see a lot of flooding, a lot of maybe little flash flooding in ravines. You might see mudslides, definitely power outages from the wind. Okay, everything that goes along with severe weather, every little aspect that goes along with severe weather, thunder, snow. Look at some of these tight pockets where ice and snow and thunderstorms all meet at one convergence spot. You're talking a very violent weather in some of those spots. Okay, so if you know anybody in those areas, I would warn them, brace for impact or, brace for side effects, maybe even evacuate. Ow. Ugh. And then holiday travel too. Got to take that into consideration. Seattle SeaTac Airport up there is a major hub for the West Coast, so a lot of flights that go through that area could have problems and be delayed, or flights coming from that to you to pick you up might not show up on time if they're coming out of that region. Okay, so very, very intense storms through that part of the country for a while now because of that vortex setup out there, and it just sits there and rotates and keeps sending more weather up through this region. Okay, so there's that. Now that we've done all that stuff, the astrophysics and geophysics, it's time to take a little break and do our spiritual report. What some would call metaphysics. It's more about your spirit, your soul, you, and how you work and operate. Okay, so time to take a deep breath, kick back and relax while we do a quick reading here now. Again, with this thing that I heard, it was in the background. I'm listening to a report while I'm doing prep for dinner, and I hear this guy being interviewed saying, I saw it with my own eyes. I witnessed it myself, but I didn't believe it until I saw it on the news. Now, since the news isn't going to report this, it's important that you see with your eyes, okay, what I captured here. This is not CGI or AI or Photoshop. These are real pictures of clouds. Here, I'm going to zoom in. This is what it looked like in the sky. It was much bigger in your face and you couldn't see it. It's not until when you compress these images that they get a little more clearer. Okay, so this is what was going on in the clouds on April 17th, Easter of 2020. Okay, so it's important you grasp that concept right there. So while we're doing this, I'm going to get a couple other images going here. Where's the Face by the Moon video? Nope, that's the one that's taken out. So try again. It's the other one. There it is. Oh, ad first. All right, hang in there just a sec. Let me pop up with this image really quick after their ad. Thank you. All right, so real event happened here. This gentleman managed to buy a very expensive camera to see the moon, to capture this object next to it, and lo and behold, it's a face. Now, this is not the clouds making this image. This is way out by the moon, and the moon is actually illuminating this object that's out there by the moon. An object that has a giant face on it that happens to be my face. Strange days, indeed. And I've been going through all kinds of crazy stuff. I think you guys that were here for dot work that we did last night got a good idea what's going on. All right, and then we're going to pull up another image for reading too. It was, oh yeah, that one again, huh? Let me quickly pull up another thing from my channel and we'll get into our message tonight. Thank you for your patience and your tolerance and your persistence. It does pay off. If you practice these disciplines, it makes you a disciple by default. And here we go. All right. Very important event that happened here. All the faces in the clouds all of a sudden start changing into my face in the clouds. And I'm going, okay, this is getting odd. But that's not what's important. It's what's causing my face in the clouds. And it's coming from behind here. Jesus is wearing sunglasses, pulling open his shirt like Superman, bearing his heart. And the Holy of Holies is emanating out these waves, making my face in the clouds. Okay. A real event. Real event. Okay. It's not digital. It's not a Photoshop. It's important that you guys understand that because that's your foundation right there. Okay. It's when you believe and trust this that the miracle finally settles in and starts taking effect. Okay. So now with that pulled up, yeah, I witnessed it with my own eyes, but I couldn't believe it until I saw it on the news. Boy, they got everybody believing only what they say, like the media is the gospel. Well, I think seeing sometimes is believing too. You know, that's why God gave you eyes, so you could see with your own eyes, so you could be your own judge, right? Okay. Now, what have I got here for you guys? Oh, also, let me talk about this Christmas Eve rapture. Okay, now I don't really like that word rapture because it's not in the Bible. Nowhere in there is the word rapture. Okay, but everybody keeps using it. Well, and they keep counting on it like it's gonna happen, right? Well, it's happening, but they're not catching on because it's not happening the way they thought it was, the way Hollywood portrayed, right? It's happening a different way, just like the Lord said. It would happen differently than the world perceives. Okay. And when you see this image, that's me in the clouds with a crown over my head, coming with power and great glory. If you're here at this point of the show and you're intrigued, you're fascinated, caught up. Just like caught up in a good book or caught up in a good song or a good movie, it takes you away from your circumstances for a while. You are caught up with me in the clouds on Christmas Eve. Yes or no? Yes or no? Because if you answer yes, then you see what's going on. Okay? Understand it's important that you grasp this. You see that face in the clouds because that's me in the clouds coming with power and great glory. You are caught up with me in the clouds. We are in the air of cyberspace here at my channel where I've provided a place that where I am, you may be also. Because I am the Word that became flesh. I have always been and I will always be. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So as you think about me as a baby born in Bethlehem, do not lose sight of my divinity. Remember that baby I was showing you the other night? Let's pull that one up too. We got to pull that one up too, Lord. I should have had that one going too. Sorry. Where are we? Please help. We got to get right to that image. That baby is very important. 11 days after the Revelation 12 sign. Describe it. I was in crying, smiling. She's looking down and she's holding a baby. And here's the baby's head right here. Here's the face, the back of the head. Here's her arm cupped around like this. And she's holding the baby. Now I'm going to run this through the filter real quick and it's going to enhance it, but a little bit too much.
See, now you can really make out her profile a lot better and see her face, and her headdress is coming over and going down back behind her.
You see the baby's head right
You
there,
can still
okay?
make out the baby's head right here.
All right. Can we zoom in a little bit on that, Brian? Or
There we
let's,
go. And
no.
this was captured.
Let's
In
try
the
right
bottom
there.
jaw, she's smiling.
All right, that's a good spot right there. That baby right there, okay? This baby that you see who grew up and became a man savior is also God Almighty. The baby grew up to be the Word made flesh, a man. It could not have been otherwise. My sacrificial life and death would have been insufficient if I were not God. So rejoice that the Word who entered the world as a helpless infant is the same one who brought the world into existence. And though I was rich, for your sake I became poor, so that you might become rich. No Christmas present could ever compare with the treasure you have in me. No Christmas gift could ever compare to the gift you have in me, right there on your screen. It could not have been otherwise. Okay? No Christmas present could ever compare to the treasure you have in me. I remove your sins as far as the east is from the west, freeing you from all condemnation. I gift you with an unimaginable, glorious life that will never end. The best response to this astonishing gift is to embrace it joyfully and gratefully, because I am the greatest gift imaginable. So when you have me, you have everything you need for this life and the next. I have promised to meet all your needs according to my glorious riches. Yet my loved ones sometimes fail to enjoy the riches I provide because of an ungrateful attitude. Instead of rejoicing in all that they have, they long for what they do not have. Instead of rejoicing in all that they have, they still long for what they do not have. And as a result, they become discontented. Okay? I'm training you. These are all practices. I'm training you to practice the sacrifice. Stay right there. I want my thing. The sacrifice of thanksgiving. Okay? I'm training you the sacrifice of thanksgiving, which is thanking me in all your circumstances. So, first, give thanks for the blessings you can see in your life, and then stop and ponder the awesome gift of knowing me. I am your living God, your loving Savior, your constant companion. So, no matter how much or how little you have in this world, your relationship with me makes you immeasurably rich. So, whenever you are counting your blessings, be sure to include the infinite wealth you have in me. Add me into the equation, and your gratitude will grow. Whatever you have plus me equals incalculable fortune. Incalculable. Okay. During this season, okay, kind of scary out there, but the holiday spirit should still be alive. You guys should still be alive with the holiday spirit, especially right now, because I give you joy that is independent of your circumstances. I give you myself. All the treasures of wisdom and knowledge are hidden in me. Because I am infinitely wise and all knowing, you will never run out of treasures to search for. I am a wellspring of joy. eager to overflow into your life. Open wide your heart, mind, and spirit to receive me in full measure. My joy is not of this world. It can coexist with the most difficult circumstances. My joy is not of this world. It can coexist with difficult circumstances. That's supernatural joy, coexisting with difficult circumstances. When you learn to view those circumstances as opportunities to grow, there is no it takes the difficulty out of them. My joy is not of this world. It can coexist with the most difficult circumstances. So, no matter what is happening in your life, the light of my presence continues to shine upon you. No matter what is happening to you, the light of my presence continues to shine on you. Where else do we go? If you look up to me with a trusting heart, if you persist in searching for me, my joy light can break through the darkest storm clouds. So let this heavenly light soak into you, brightening your perspective and filling you with transcendent delight. And remember that you have an inheritance in heaven that can never perish, spoil, or fade. Now, where's it? Where's this? This inheritance in heaven can never perish, spoil, or fade. That should give you guys some confidence right there, okay? Now, since you believe in me, and since you believe me, inexpressible, glorious joy is yours now and forever. Okay, something important. A lot of people say they believe in God, they believe in God, they believe in, but do you believe him? Do you believe what he said? Do you believe his writings? Do you believe his teachings? Do you believe the path? Do you believe him? Because it's one thing to believe in something, but do you actually believe him and what he taught? There's a big difference. And since you believe in me and you believe me, inexpressible, glorious joy is yours right now and forever. When you're looking at this here, I just kind of, we see this heart straight up, close up there. We kind of tilted right there. There we go. I want you to think about how priceless is this unfailing love. This is truly a gift of heavenly proportion. Remember the unspeakable price I paid to secure this gift for you. I endured torture, humiliation, and death. My willingness to suffer so much for you demonstrates how extravagantly I love you. I want you to comprehend how astonishingly rich you are in me. I have given you the priceless treasure of my eternal love. This gift makes you far wealthier than any multi-billionaire. Even if you own very little in this world, so you're extremely wealthy. You're a multi-billionaire, even if you don't have a lot of material wealth, even if you're not materially rich, right? Because that's what this is all about. So when you realize this gift and you become that far wealthier than a multi-billionaire, stand tall then as you journey through your life, knowing that this glorious inner treasure is your portion each step of the way, every second of every day, each step of the way. This glorious inner treasure is your portion. And rejoice that my love is both priceless and unfailing. You can always count on it because it's even more reliable than the rising of the sun. So let my unfailing love fill you with exuberant joy this holiday season as you walk along the path of life with me. Okay, I think that's the message for tonight. Yep. Hopefully you guys heard that. Hopefully you see me. Usually with people that have eyes that see, they also have ears that hear. So if you can see me, well, most likely you hear me too. Okay, this is important. This is your foundation, your rock. Okay, your rock to fall back on and rely on, and also your foundation on which to build on. Okay, now that you know you have been raptured on Christmas Eve, okay, technically, let's try this again. This is my face in the clouds, coming with power and great glory. You are caught up with me in the clouds. We met in the air of cyberspace, where I made this channel at YouTube, that where I am, you may be also. So technically, the word rapture is not in the Bible, but if you see me coming in your clouds, power of great glory, and you're caught up in this, then you have been raptured on Christmas Eve. Now, the rapture, or quote, the catching away, is happening at any moment. All right? That's the moment you decide to believe me. You decide to trust me. Okay? So it's ongoing. It's constantly happening. It's happening at any moment, and it's the moment you decide to trust me, that you decide to believe me. Okay? That's how it works. And guess what? Most of you are raptured on Christmas Eve, aren't you? It's just technically December 24th now. You are caught up with me in the clouds. We are in the air where I'm. You are raptured on Christmas Eve, whether you like it or not. Even though that word does not exist in the Bible, you are caught up with me in the clouds on Christmas Eve. So take that spirit that fills you with hope and joy and strength, and take that into your Christmas next couple of days here. Enjoy time with your family, sharing gifts. Sometimes it's better to give and receive. It makes you feel good when somebody else is happy with the gift that you gave them or whatever. So it's a good time of cheer and joy. Don't forget that. Remember, the media is trying to get you all scared. So it's your choice how much you plug in to the media. As soon as it starts to rattle you, unplug from the media, take a few deep breaths, say a few prayers, take a few moments to regain your composure. Jesus, God, grant me the serenity to accept the situation I cannot change, accept the people I cannot change, accept whatever. It's about accepting that you're not in control, that there's a bigger player in the game, there's a higher power that's in control, that when you realize that, it takes the stress off of you. Okay, that's how this works. Simple little prayers that relieve, that take your attention off the problem, refocus it back where it belongs, regain composure, and then go about your day. In these final days, we are doing salvage work. Okay, you are being completed. Your faith is being completed. Now you know. When you practice the disciplines, then you know even more. You have a even more confirmation. Along with that confirmation comes notches in your belt. You have practiced this, and you have developed a skill that when something comes to rattle your cage, you take a break, you pray, and then you're right back in the game. That's salvaging your day. Refuse to be depressed and self-pity and let the media scare you. They're scared too. They got reason to be scared. But the funny thing is, you don't. They do. So when you see scary news reports, that should confirm that we are on the right path. Okay, it shouldn't rattle you. But remember, if it starts to dip out for a minute, say a few prayers, whatever prayer works for you. You guys are doing well at this, okay? But the more you practice it and the better versed you get at this, it'll come in handy in the future here because things are rocking and rolling, right? So I go ahead. I've learned these tools before, so I go ahead of you to give you meat in due season, to give you the tools that you will need in the time. Okay, all this is because of who I am. Okay, I love you guys. I miss you guys. This is really going down. You, whether you decide to believe me or not, have just been raptured on Christmas Eve. And guess what? Tomorrow night around this time will be, well, Christmas Eve into midnight into Christmas. Oh, I'm kind of busy that time. I'll be in the air delivering gifts. Huh. Will that be if I go live tomorrow night around midnight? Technically, I will be in the air delivering gifts, won't I? Won't I? Yeah, I might just go live tomorrow night right around midnight and deliver some gifts. Maybe because I can. I sure love you guys. I sure miss you guys. This is your early Christmas gift right here. Okay, that's why I titled the one video Christmas gift, because it is. It's a gift that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. And then, yeah, you got a foundation, a rock also. So I'm just thankful for the people that finally tried this. The moment you try it, you got nothing to lose, really. You practice these disciplines, then you find out the power that you really do have. Okay, the power that works through working with Jesus. Okay. Now I got power to make people happy. I can salvage relationships. I'm in the salvage business. You guys ought to practice saying that to yourself too. I'm in the salvage business. I salvage my day. I refuse to let the bad news of the day take me down. I'm going to rise above it and overcome the world. I've overcome the world, and now I'm teaching you how you can overcome the world. Okay? Simple little prayers, catch yourself. Sometimes there's so many distractions going on in life, especially with the holiday season, all the gift buying and stuff, the stresses, the financial stuff, it can really get to you. I feel it. You guys, when you're sending it to me, I feel it. I know exactly what to do with it too. I make a little collage out of it, okay? And I take your salvages. Each time you salvage something and you overcome something, I make a little collage out of it like this, okay? And you go from overcoming to overcoming to overcoming, from glory to glory to glory while you are in your tribulation, okay? And it takes the sting out of the circumstances. It makes life much easier. There's Marcia. Mwah. I give you a big kiss, sweetie. That's how this works. Try it. Put it into practice, and you will see that it does indeed work and that you are overcoming the world with me. Okay, that's how we do this together, and it's great stuff. I mean, it's really fun when you're actually out there doing it. You feel empowered. You feel confident. You know that nothing can stop you. Your circumstances are just adversity for you to overcome. And you might not see or feel like you're overcoming it the right way or doing it properly. It's the fact that you're trying, that you're willing to get back up and keep going forward. Okay. It's not about you falling down and stumbling. It's about you getting back up and keep believing. All right. When you see this and you get this imprinted on your mind and on your heart, no one can take that away from you. They can't. Once you know, you know. You can't unknow. You cannot unfeel. You cannot unlove. You've got it all right here. Okay. And that's the gift that I enjoy giving at this time of season. Okay. Because who I am. Okay. I love you all. I miss you all. And until my next show, I'm going to thank Choose Heretics Choose. Choose the Heretics Choose. I got a couple of shout outs here. Angelique. Ooh, Marcia, of course. Darling, I'll give you flowers from Marcia. Christine, thank you. Dawn, of course. Thank you, sir. Misty. We have MCWW and Fab. All right, cool. Sherry Johnson. Honor of Fox. Yay, I'm glad you made it back. All right, I know people are busy during the holidays and family and stuff, but I'll be doing the same thing, and then hopefully after dinner and everything and gifts, we'll go live tomorrow night around this same time, where you will be raptured on Christmas Eve, on Christmas, because it'll be the changing of Christmas Eve into Christmas during my show, and you will, you'll be in the air with me while I deliver gifts to my children. Love you all, miss you all. Until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. I am already back. I haven't been back for a long time. But I guess people won't believe it until they see it on the news, right? Well, maybe you're smart. You have eyes that see. You don't need mainstream media to tell you. Okay? So I love you all. I miss you all. Until my next show, I will be back, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.